Alex, your thoughts on the whole, this is good, but Concord was bad?
It's definitely a case by case basis because people can sit here and say that they don't like live service games, but there's always that game that can pull them in. World of Warships, Yield talked about it earlier. Yield is still, at least from time to time, checking in with World of Warships, which very much is a live service game. And we've heard Yield, talk very disparagingly about live service games. I think there is a very negative connotation when it comes to live service, but again, when the live service game comes around, I do think anyone and everyone can invest, maybe not in that specific game, but almost anyone out there can find a game that interests them in that space and that they're willing to invest their time into. The Marvel Heroes thing, Marvel has been popular for how long? Granted, far more popular since the MCU came around, but those heroes have been popular for a long, long time. I do think there is some fatigue, and maybe it's because maybe it's in the movie space, maybe it's more on like Disney Plus and all that. Maybe it hasn't quite cracked the video game sector yet, but there is a fatigue for Marvel. But that being said, the Marvel license and being able to play as Marvel characters as opposed to playing as what looks like Concord or Firewalk's vision, Firewalk rip, Firewalk's vision of what Marvel characters might look like if they lived in like an adjacent universe or something like that. That matters. And again, being free to play matters because there's no barrier to entry. Yes, you can maybe get more out of it if you spend money, but you don't have to. And that's another thing with Concord that hurt them is there's all this negative press about Concord and how people really didn't care for it after the initial videos came out. And then they announced it was gonna be $40, and people went. It was like another slap in the face. People were like, "What? No, I doubly don't want to play this game now." So free matters. Getting people to the doorstep, getting them to come in and at least try it, get the controller in their hand matters. So I think that it all helps a little bit. I don't think there's necessarily that every live service game is bad, and I don't necessarily think that every Marvel game is going to draw everyone's attention, but something like this where you have like, I mean, the MCU set it up, the scene at the airport in Civil War where it was like 6 on 6, like this kind of something that is baked into the Marvel universe with the pro registration, the anti registration, stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know the story in Marvel Rivals, but having them go at each other like that has always been kind of mutants going to mutants and X-Men. It's always kind of been something that's been baked into the MCU and with the Marvel characters.